This is part 2 of the PC starter motor. Last time we showed you us bench testing it, making sure it would work. Well, we already put it in once and it didn't work. Then we found out that the battery that we were using to test it with was dead. So I'm going to take a moment, run over here behind me, check this battery to see if it's up to charge yet. If it is, then I'm going to show you how we put all of this back together. Now you can see the starter motor is now tucked into its neat little home. That cover has got to go back on now. We got seals that we have to pay attention to because you got a seal here for the clutch, we got another seal for the shift lever, and all of this has got to go just so. If the magnet don't get me, there we go. Boy, yeah, we had the goobies out of it. Now it's just a matter of putting the bolts back in, bolt the cover in. Won't take but a second.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I cleaned the threads off these bolts. They were all full of aluminum corrosion. So, and they're all the same length, thank God. That makes this easy. So I get them all in there with my fingers, get them started. We have the 8 on here now. Now you don't really need, you don't really need a very long extension, but I found that over the years that the further away you got your fingers from anything, the less likelihood of getting hurt. This gun is not going to exceed their torque specs, so that's good enough. Next thing we got to do is we got to put the clutch slave. We're going to put it in. Now you're probably thinking, well, why not just wait? Well, it's only 3 bolts, and if everything works out like it should, I'm just going to have to come back over here and put that thing in there anyway. So, those are 8 millimeters too, so this shouldn't take. Thing about whether you use electric or air power on you putting bolts in, always start them by hand. If you try to start them with power, it's a good chance you'll cross thread a screw and screw it up. There's another piece to go on here, the engine guard that goes on here, but we're not doing that until after the test. Now one more piece I have to put on before we can do the test, and that is this little guy right here. That's this water tube. Alright, at this point we've got the cover back on, we've got the starter in, and the wires are all hooked up. Well, not fully hooked up, but they're hooked up enough so that the ground and the positive cable are all connected. And now we're going to try putting power to the starter. We should hear the starter motor turn over. That's what we're hoping to hear. Okay, I got me a fully charged battery back here. I'm hiding. Here's where I'm at back here. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I had a rubber piece here. Where'd it go? I had special rubber here so that it would it would protect from grounding the hot lead here because it's just hanging. And now to ground. Keep your fingers crossed. Well, it's turning over. It's turning over. So starter motor's working there as far as that's concerned. Next problem to solve is why it doesn't do that from the button.